In this update, we've got a series of mid-latitude cyclones that will be moving across the country, spawning some tornadoes and blizzard-like snowstorms. Then Arctic cold will be moving in by later this week. So let's take you back at the snowfall. This is the overall snowfall estimates over the last 72 hours. And here is the legend on the upper right-hand corner of the screen. Yeah, you can see here out towards the Texas Panhandle, we picked up anywhere from 2 to 4 inches in those lighter blues and some of those darker blues that went across Kansas. Even Arkansas got some snow over the last couple of days. That series went through St. Louis all the way up into portions of Illinois, then swung across Indiana. We also had some snow up here and towards Minnesota, and then of course the big snowstorm for the Northeast, which is still ongoing, but some of these left some pretty good snow amounts. Look at those areas in orange. Those are anywhere from a foot, if not even a little bit more. So there's plenty of areas that actually picked up a foot of snow from this snowstorm, but even those areas in the lighter orange, that's 8 to 12 inches. But numerous areas, pretty much the entire state of Pennsylvania got snow, besides just outside of Philadelphia there. I think Washington, D.C. missed out on this deal. Even I think New York City kind of missed out. You're all on the borderline there. But further to the north, yes, definitely some heavier snows. And that snow is still cranking up there into the Northeast. So I appreciate all my subscribers out there. This channel is almost to 224,000 subscribers. I put out a lot of content almost on a daily basis. I do around 27 videos a month. So if you'd like to stay with me throughout the 2024 year and keep well ahead of the storm, just hit the subscribe button and follow me on a daily basis. So let's take a look at the big picture, because we've got a lot going on, folks. It is in the heart of winter, and we've got yet all these systems coming in as the El Nino is on full throttle now, as these systems will be traversing across the country. So we still got those winter storm warnings highlighted for the Northeast, as that snowstorm is still winding itself down. But yes, we have a renewed threat that will be coming in off the West Coast. So we've got the interior snows up there into the Pacific Northwest, those mountain snows, and then further to the south, very high winds will be traversing across areas in Southern California through Las Vegas. They even have some freeze warnings and watches down there for Tucson, back into the Phoenix region. But that system will be traversing across, bringing some heavier snows across Santa Fe here, back into Albuquerque. All those ski resorts are just loving it up there. But that's a blizzard warning out here in portions of New Mexico. But even we could be seeing blizzard-like conditions start to unfold in the Texas Panhandle again. And that system will be traversing northeast through Kansas. And then those are renewed winter storm warnings up here into northern portions of Kansas, into Nebraska. That swings over into the Kansas City region, as well as eventually heading into Illinois and Iowa with all that snow. It's all complements of these mid-latitude cyclones, folks. So we've got this one that's inundating the Northeast right now. We've got a second piece of energy that's going to be moving in off the West Coast right now. That'll be traversing across the country. And then yet we even have yet another one starting to build up there into the Aleutian Islands. So it's definitely starting to get active for sure. So here's the snowstorm right now. So we still got the snow flying up here in the Northeast. I know when New England plays later on, we'll likely be going to be seeing snow flying across that region, but that will start winding itself down later on this evening. We are getting some backside snows across Ohio into portions of western PA, and then that actually sneaking into Indiana. But there's the snowstorm as the low pressure center will be moving across. Now it's going to be highlighted over northern portions of Arizona, back into the Flagstaff region, and then really starting to get its act together once it hits the Four Corners region and really starting to amplify. So that's why they've got those blizzard storm warnings. The Panhandle could pick up another 2 to 5 inches of snow from this deal, as this low pressure will be starting to deepen. So as it's deepening, we've got the warm sector. These areas are going to be rotating at the mid latitudes, and they could spawn some tornadoes. We actually saw it yesterday in Fort Lauderdale. That storm hit the heart of Fort Lauderdale that actually touched down. So that's one of the areas that we're going to have to be concerned about on the southern flank, especially as we go into tomorrow and going into that Tuesday timeframe. We are going to be looking for severe storms, and some of those could be in the form of tornadoes. But then on the northern side, we'll have blizzard-like conditions. Going to easily winds are going to be over 35 miles an hour. A lot of times you're going to be gusting 45 to 55 miles an hour, as this snow will be cranking at 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates. But let's talk about the severe storms and the tornado aspect of this system, because yes, we are concerned down there towards Victoria, into the Houston region, but especially as you swing over to Lake Charles, back into the New Orleans region, into Mobile, into the Florida Panhandle on Monday, heading into your Monday night time frame. You are going to be vulnerable, but seeing those spin up tornadoes like they saw in the Fort Lauderdale region yesterday, and then that will be moving over back into Florida as we go into that day on Tuesday time frame. So that's also another renewed threat for more tornadic spin up tornadoes, and some larger hail is going to be associated with these powerful storms. And where it's not severe, you've got a lot of rain coming your way across the southeast and eventually heading up into the east coast. So let's break it down for you on the surface map. So this is what it looks like going into Monday night. So the snowstorm will be coming out of the Panhandle. Now it's going to be highlighted over Kansas by then, going over to Nebraska, but then it's really starting to crank up into Iowa, back into northern Illinois, and then of course further south is just all rain. And then all the higher winds and the severe stuff will be traversed across mainly from East Texas, going across the deep south, the I-10, I-20, I-30 corridors, interstates, as this moves along. But look at the water vapor transport index, folks. You very rarely see this being off the chart. That's because it's pulling in some of this deep tropical moisture down there in the Caribbean, and it's got this mid-latitude cyclone and then just wrapping all that energy and then lifting it northbound. So that's why we've got numerous flooding concerns going to be draped across these regions. So we've got the tornado aspect of it that we've got to be concerned about, and then all the heavier rain that will lead to flash flooding up across the East Coast. And then there's our blizzard like snowstorm will be traversing across as those isobars really start to tighten up, the winds crank, and the snow starts to fly across these regions. So where the low pressure is by the time we head into that Tuesday night time frame, now portions of Wisconsin will be getting into the action of the snow, going up into the upper Great Lakes, and then you'll get the backside snow again into Illinois and eventually head through Indiana and getting into Ohio, but not before all the heavy rain that will be inundating coming up the East Coast. So I'm definitely concerned. You saw all the snow, the 12-inch totals that are definitely on the ground right now, and you'll be adding to some of those totals over the next couple of hours. Then you've got, by the time we head into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning time frame, all that pocket of energy. They've already got moderate risk for heavy rainfall within the New York City region. That's what I'm concerned about. You'll have just to the north of there all that snow melt. So imagine a foot of snow on the ground, and it's all that's going to melt, then compounding another 3 to 5 inches of rain on top of that. And then you have all the higher winds of 40, 50, 60 miles an hour. So we're going to be talking about likely, widespread power outages up there with flooding going to be a huge concern with the combination of all those elements coming together. And then you'll have the snow on the backside. So it's just going to be a nasty day up there into the Northeast with a lot of problems to deal with, especially as you try to get to work on Wednesday morning. But then let's talk about the Arctic cold, because we've got some serious cold coming for the lower 48. Right now it's building up there into the Yukon. So it's an area up here towards Alaska, up there by the Northwest Territories. We've got pretty serious, significant cold, definitely by far the coldest air mass so far of the season. And this will be plunging southbound. So at first, It's going to be highlighted over Western Canada and then diving south. So all these areas back where I showed you the freeze warnings in Tucson and Phoenix and all those areas all the way down in the Southwest. Yes, those are freezing conditions, complements of this what's referred to as an Arctic vortex will be traversing across. And this is likely going to be sending pulses of colder air. It's not going to be an all at once quick shot. It's going to come into the vengeance, but it's also going to be spinning and wrapping around and sending pulses of colder air, colder shots further south. So it's not just a one-day wonder with this cold shot. It's going to last for an extended period of time moving forward, but it's also going to go over a renewed snowpack. You saw what the snowpack looked like around Christmas. It was pretty much atrocious. 20-year low, 17% of the US had the snow. Then we got the blizzard on Christmas Day. And then it's been a building concept over the last 2 weeks. Then we got the renewed snows are going to be falling before the Arctic air. And this is the air mass this snowpack, renewed snowpack, is going to go over. So as Arctic air goes over this renewed snowpack, yes, it's going to allow that colder air to extend further south and be colder as well. And so the problem with Arctic air, it's very shallow, and a lot of global models just can't see it. I mean, it's kind of rare. I mean, Arctic air is definitely the rarest air, but it's also, we're coming from that stratospheric warming event that we've got. Now that all that area is coming down from the stratosphere, going through the mid-latitudes, and we're getting the first shot of the pieces of that colder air. So yes, the Climate Prediction Center is highlighting a good swath of the country. By the time we head into Friday, 20 and 40 degrees below average, and we're already in the coldest time of the year. So yes, some areas are going to have some serious cold unfolding across especially the middle of the country and the northern tier of the US, and then we'll be sinking southbound. But this cold blast will likely head all the way down, eventually bound into Mexico, and then eventually slingshot eastward. So as we get into Friday, that's where it kind of gets tricky, because of course, the shallow cold air, a lot of global models can't pick up on the intensity of the cold, and they can't pick up on the speed of the cold, as these short waves will be coming across the country. So yeah, Friday morning, we've got another short wave going to be highlighted across West Texas. That provides the lift again out here into the Texas region, into the Oklahoma region, and we're likely going to see more snow flying into New Mexico, back into the Texas panhandle again. We're going to be starting off as a rain for much of Texas, but then going into Oklahoma, we're likely going to be changing over to that rain, sleet, snow mix, because it's going to be starting to feel the Arctic front coming in from the north. Then as we get deeper, so we'll just have to fine tune and time this out. But yes, pretty much a certainty Oklahoma gets a good swath of snow from this storm, if not some ice mixed in. It's definitely uncertain with the timing of this front and how much of this is actually going to be sneaking in into Texas. Pretty much certain in the Texas panhandle. I'm talking about North Texas and heading into East Texas. If they're going to get a glancing shot of that rain changing over to sleet and ice, and then changing over to possibly some snow on the backside, because this Arctic blast will be coming in. You start likely warmer, but then you got the Arctic blast coming in by Friday night, which should be in through the Dallas-Fort Worth area and heading into central Texas by then. Of course, you got the rain to start, but it all depends on, of course, the timing of this system as it moves out. So yes, here's the latest GFS guidance, kind of hinting at some of that snow could kind of bleed over into portions of North Texas as this low pressure center will be traversing across and lifting northeast. But here's some of the latest guidance. Again, you know, this could fluctuate. The global models have been kind of all over the place, but pretty much certain it's probably going to be single digits in Oklahoma, especially with that snowpack. When you got a snowpack on the ground, it's obviously going to help insulate and lower the temperatures even further. So yeah, so either way, we've got hard freezes coming for a good part of the deep south. So this is an Arctic air mass that's not going to just be a one-day wonder. It's going to last for an extended period of time. And look what's still up to north. That's the culprit. That's the Arctic vortex. That's the 50 below type stuff. You don't want to be underneath that Arctic vortex, I can promise you, but it's going to be circulating around, and that's the system that's going to be sending pulses of air, colder air further south as these quick shots of Arctic air, move through. And then as these short waves moves across the country, we'll be looking at yet another snowstorm that's going to be blowing up across the Ohio Valley. So you got these storms every, say, 2 or 3, 4 days or so that's going to leave these dynamic systems and pull in very high winds and then heavier snows along that northwest side of those low pressure. Then yet we see another area of 984 low pressure, and that deepens to a 973. So it's almost got back-to-back systems of blizzard-like conditions highlighted over the upper Midwest and heading up into the Great Lakes, with very high winds as the colder air will continue to plunge southbound. Looking at the ensembles going forward, we could see another surge piece of energy even pulling even further south around the 15th time frame, as most ensemble members are on board showing that. And then it's going to last for an extended period of time, because even as we go into that 20th time frame, there's that slingshot eastward. So we're going to be staying below average, because a lot of these areas are going to have some snow on the ground, especially like in Oklahoma and Kansas and up here in Missouri and Illinois. That's going to allow you to stay colder, and it's going to see, keep that colder air around for an extended period of time. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch my next update where I protect you before and after the storm.